I found out my girlfriend was cheating because she forgot one tiny detail. My sister works at the same hotel. I'm not proud of how calm I was when the truth landed. I didn't throw her stuff into the street. I didn't scream. I didn't text her a paragraph of rage. I just sat on the edge of my bed, stared at the wall, and felt something in me go quiet. The part that had been trying to believe her for months. If you've ever had that gut feeling that something isn't right, you know what I mean. It's not jealousy. It's not insecurity. It's your instincts tapping the glass, trying to get your attention. And when you finally listen, it's like the whole story rewinds and you suddenly notice all the parts that never made sense. My name is Owen. I'm 31, and I work as a product designer for a company that makes boring software for even more boring businesses. I'm not rich, but I'm steady. I like steady. I grew up in a family where love was loud, dinners were noisy, and arguments ended in apologies. I believed in simple things. Show up, be honest, build something real. That's what I thought I was doing with Mia. Mia was 29 when we met at a friend's game night. She was warm in a way that felt like sunlight. Not the look at me kind of pretty, but the everyone relaxes around her kind. She laughed easily, listened like she meant it, and somehow made my painfully normal life feel like something she was choosing, not settling for. We moved fast, not recklessly, but confidently. We didn't fight much. We shared the same idea of a future. A place with natural light, a dog that sheds everywhere, trips that weren't about posting photos but actually being there. After a year, we moved in together. After another year, we started talking about marriage. Not in the dramatic someday way, but in the practical, let's look at rings way. The first time I felt something was off, I ignored it. It was small. She started guarding her phone in a way she never used to. If I walked behind her while she was texting, she'd angle the screen away. If her phone buzzed at night, she'd flip it face down instantly. I noticed, then scolded myself for noticing. I didn't want to be that guy. Then the schedule changes started. Mia worked in marketing for a local company and would occasionally travel for conferences. That part wasn't new. What was new was the sudden frequency. Last-minute retreat. Team dinner that ran late. Client drinks. Brainstorming session. She started coming home with that tired but energized look people get when they've had a good time they can't talk about. One night she came home smelling like cologne. Not her perfume. Not a mix of restaurant food and city air. Cologne. Clean and sharp. She kissed me quickly, too quickly, like someone checking a box. "You smell different," I said, trying to keep it casual. She didn't even blink. The Uber driver had his air freshener on full blast. I feel like I've been marinating in it. It was a smooth answer. Too smooth. The kind you give when you've already rehearsed the explanation. Again, I ignored it. I don't say that to make myself look noble. I say it because denial is powerful. When you love someone, your brain becomes their defense attorney. It files paperwork against obvious reality. It calls your instincts unreliable. It argues that the simplest explanation must be wrong because it hurts too much. The second time I felt something was off, I tried to address it. We were making dinner. She was chopping vegetables and I was washing dishes. I said, "Hey, can we talk about something?" Her shoulders tensed like she knew what was coming. "I feel like you've been distant lately," I said. Not in a dramatic way, just less here. "Are we okay?" She turned to me, smiled, and cupped my face with wet hands. "We're fine," she said. "I've just been stressed. Work has been insane. Please don't turn this into a thing." And I didn't, because I didn't want to be the guy who turned things into a thing. I wanted to be supportive, trusting, safe. So I swallowed the feeling again. Then came the weekend that changed everything. Mia told me her company was sending her to a regional workshop out of town. 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. She sounded slightly annoyed about it, which made it feel believable. "I'm sorry," she said. "I know we were going to visit your parents. I'll make it up to you. No worries, I said. I'll reschedule. She hugged me, kissed my cheek, and started packing. I helped her fold clothes because I'm that kind of boyfriend. She tossed in a dress that didn't seem like a regional workshop dress. Tight, black, the kind she usually wore for fancy dinners. I raised an eyebrow. It's for the after-event dinner, she said. You know these things. Sure. That Friday, she left around noon. She kissed me in the doorway, looked me in the eyes, and said, I love you. I said it back because I meant it. Then she was gone. The next part is the dumbest coincidence of my life. My younger sister, Paige, works part-time at a boutique hotel downtown while she finishes grad school. She's the kind of person who remembers everyone's name and can make small talk feel like therapy. She'd mentioned earlier that week that their hotel was hosting some kind of corporate event. Friday evening, Paige texted me. Random question. Is Mia in town? I stared at my phone and felt a strange coldness spread through my chest. Why? I typed. Paige replied, because I'm at work and I just saw her walk through the lobby. She didn't see me. She was dressed up, like date night dressed up. She came in with a guy. My hands went numb. I read the message again, slowly, like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something else. I called Paige immediately. Hey, I said, forcing my voice to sound normal. Tell me exactly what you saw. Paige hesitated. Owen, I don't want to start drama. It was definitely her. She checked in under her name. I only noticed because I thought, wait, why is she here? And she was with this guy. Tall, maybe mid-30s, suit jacket, confident. They were comfortable. Like they'd done it before. Are you sure it was her? I asked, even though I already knew. Yes, Paige said softly. I'm sorry. I felt like my entire body was buzzing with static. I didn't want to believe it, but my brain was already connecting dots at warp speed. The guarded phone, the late nights, the cologne, the dress. Can you tell me what room? I asked. Paige paused. Owen, I'm not supposed to. I know, I said quickly. Don't get yourself in trouble. Just tell me if she's actually checked in. She is, Paige said. I saw the ID. Same birthday, same everything. I sat down on the floor of my living room. The dog, a mutt we'd adopted together, trotted over and pressed his head against my leg, confused by my stillness. Okay, I said, more to myself than to Paige. Okay. Paige's voice was gentle. What do you want me to do? I took a breath. Nothing illegal, I said. Nothing that risks your job. Just, if you can, tell me if she stays the night. That's all. I can do that, Paige said. I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. Then I did something I never imagined I'd do. I drove downtown, not to storm in, not to confront, not to create a scene. I drove because I needed proof my brain couldn't argue with later. I needed the last piece that would make denial impossible. I parked across the street from the hotel and sat in my car, feeling ridiculous, like some character in a bad movie. I watched the entrance, my heart pounding, my stomach hollow. At 9:14 p.m., I saw them. Mia walked out of the lobby with the same confident guy Paige described. He had his hand on the small of her back like it belonged there. Mia laughed at something he said, threw her head back, and for a second looked happier than I'd seen her in months. They didn't look like co-workers grabbing drinks. They looked like a couple. They walked toward a nearby restaurant, and that was it. The last thread snapped. I drove home in silence, white-knuckled, not even noticing traffic. When I got home, I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. If you're wondering why I didn't confront her immediately, here's the honest answer. I didn't want her to talk her way out of it. Mia was good with words. She could spin a story, make you feel guilty for asking questions, make confusion feel like your fault. I didn't want confusion. I wanted clean facts. So I started gathering them. I checked our shared calendar. Her regional workshop was blocked off, but there was no address, no agenda, no colleagues mentioned. I checked her social media, nothing posted, no selfie in a conference room, no work trip story. That wasn't proof, but it was a pattern. Then I opened our phone plan account. I could see call logs, not messages, not content, just numbers and frequency. One number stood out. Dozens of calls, late nights, long durations, almost daily. I copied it. I didn't call it. I didn't want to speak to whoever it was, not yet. Instead, I waited. At 11:43 p.m., Paige texted me. "She's still here." They went up to the room together. I stared at that message and felt my last bit of hope go flat. I replied, "Thank you. Please don't do anything else." I closed my laptop and sat there until 2 a.m., listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator, feeling like a stranger in my own life. Mia didn't come home that night. She texted me at 7:12 a.m. "Morning, babe. Workshop ran late. I crashed at the hotel. Headache. Love you." The casualness of the lie made my skin crawl. I typed back, "Okay, feel better." That's it. 2 words. She replied with a heart emoji. I set my phone down and made coffee like a normal person, because sometimes shock looks like routine. Then I started planning. Here's what people don't tell you about long-term relationships. Your life gets intertwined in boring logistical ways. Leases, bills, subscriptions, shared accounts, furniture, pets. The emotional betrayal hurts, but the practical aftermath is what makes people stay longer than they should. I didn't want to stay. I wanted out. Cleanly, legally, calmly. So I spent Saturday handling the boring parts. Our lease was in both our names, but the utilities were mostly in mine. Internet, electricity, streaming services. Our joint savings account was small, but it existed, and I didn't want drama around it. First, I opened a new bank account in my name only and moved my direct deposit there. Not as punishment, as protection. Second, I wrote down every shared expense and separated what was mine from what was truly joint. I wasn't trying to ruin her. I was trying to make sure she couldn't ruin me while I processed this. Third, I called my best friend Aaron and told him I needed a place to stay for a few nights. I didn't give details at first. I just said, "It's bad. I'll explain later." Aaron didn't ask questions. He just said, "Come over whenever." Finally, I called my mom. My mom is the kind of woman who doesn't waste time on theatrics. When I told her what happened, she paused, then said, "Do you want me to be angry, or do you want me to be useful?" "I want you to be useful," I admitted. "Then listen," she said. "Don't confront her until you're ready. Get your important documents, make a plan, and don't let her rewrite what you know." I swallowed hard. Okay. Saturday night, Mia still wasn't home. She texted updates like she was on some heroic business mission. Long day, team dinner, early start tomorrow. I played along because I didn't want to tip her off. Not out of revenge, out of strategy. I needed the weekend to move my pieces into place without emotional interference. Sunday morning, she came home. She walked in like nothing had happened. Hair slightly messy, sunglasses on despite the cloudy day, that relaxed glow people get after a good night. She kissed me quickly on the cheek. "You okay?" she asked casually, dropping her bag. "Yeah," I said. "How was it?" "Exhausting," she sighed. "I'm going to shower." She walked past me, and I caught that same cologne smell again. Faint but unmistakable. When the bathroom door closed, I exhaled slowly and felt my hands shake for the first time all weekend. This was the moment I realized something else. She wasn't just cheating. She was doing it with confidence, with entitlement, with the assumption that my trust was an endless resource. When she came out of the shower, towel wrapped around her hair, she started telling me a fake story about presentations and networking. I waited until she finished. Then I said calmly, "Were you at the Harborview Hotel on Friday night?" Her face froze for half a second, so fast most people would miss it. But I saw it, the tiny crack where the lie panics. What? She laughed. No. Why would I be there? My sister saw you, I said. She works there. Silence. The air shifted. Mia's eyes narrowed. Your sister is lying. She saw you check in, I said, under your name. Mia's mouth opened, then closed. She tried again. This is insane, she said, voice rising. You're spying on me now? I was in my car across the street, I admitted. I saw you leave the lobby with him. Her cheeks flushed red. Not from guilt, from anger. Wow, she said. So you don't trust me at all. I almost laughed. The audacity was so clean it was almost impressive. I trusted you, I said, until you gave me a reason not to. She dropped the towel onto the couch like it was a dramatic gesture. Okay, she snapped. Fine, yes, I met someone. I didn't plan for it to happen. It just did. The words hit me like ice water, even though I already knew. Who is he? I asked. She hesitated, then lifted her chin. His name is Grant, she said. He's someone I met through work. How long? I asked. Mia looked away. A few months. So all those late nights, the guarded phone, the sudden retreats. It wasn't a rough patch. It was a double life. Why? I asked. Because sometimes your brain needs to hear the answer even when it won't make sense. Mia sighed like I was exhausting her again. Because I felt stuck, she said. Because you're safe. You're good. But you're predictable. Grant is exciting. He makes me feel alive. I stared at her. So you lied, I said. You slept with someone else. You checked into a hotel and texted me love you afterward. She rolled her eyes. You're being dramatic. The same phrase she always used to shrink my feelings. That's when I felt the final click. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. I'm leaving. Mia laughed, a sharp sound. You're not leaving. This is our place. I'm leaving today, I said. And we're going to talk about the lease with the property manager tomorrow. Her expression shifted from annoyance to alarm. Stop, she said. Don't do something stupid. We can work through this. Can we? I asked. Or would you rather go feel alive again next weekend? She opened her mouth, then closed it. I went into the bedroom, pulled out my duffel bag, already packed, and started filling it with the essentials I hadn't moved yet. Clothes, laptop, documents, charger. Mia followed me, voice changing tone rapidly like she was cycling through strategies. First, anger. You're overreacting. Then, blame. You weren't paying attention to me. Then, bargaining. It was a mistake. It meant nothing. Then, tears. Real tears this time, but I couldn't tell if they were grief or fear. Finally, she tried the one move that always worked before. She got quiet and said softly, So you're just going to throw away 3 years? I paused with my hand on a drawer. No, I said. You did that. I'm just picking up what's left of me. I left. I drove to Aaron's place and sat on his couch, staring into space while he put a beer in my hand. I didn't drink. What do you want to do? He asked. I want it clean, I said. I don't want a war. I want out. Monday morning, I took a personal day and called our leasing office. I explained I wanted to discuss options for lease transfer or early termination. They scheduled me for an afternoon appointment. Mia texted me nonstop. Apologies, anger, denial, memories, threats, promises. She even sent a photo of our dog with the caption, "He misses you." I didn't reply. At the leasing office, the property manager laid out the options. Either one of us qualifies a loan and takes over the lease, or we both sign to end it early with a penalty. Mia couldn't qualify a loan. Her income wasn't enough. The manager said it politely, but the meaning was clear. Mia's confidence began to crumble into something raw. So what? You're going to make me homeless? She snapped at me in the office lobby. I'm not making you anything, I said. You made choices. Now we're dealing with consequences. She looked at me like she didn't recognize me. Because she didn't. The version of me who swallowed disrespect was gone. We ended the lease. The penalty was expensive, but I paid my half immediately and considered it tuition for a hard lesson. Mia moved into a friend's place temporarily. I moved into a short-term rental for a month while I found a new apartment that didn't carry her memory in every corner. The worst part wasn't the logistics. It was the quiet moments when my brain tried to replay the relationship like a film and ask, was any of it real? I kept catching myself reaching for my phone to text her something normal. A joke, a photo, a thought. Then I'd remember and feel that hollow drop in my stomach again. Therapy helped, not in a magical way, but in a steady way. My therapist said something that stuck with me. You're grieving two things, the person you loved and the future you thought you had. That was exactly it. A few weeks later, Paige told me something else. I saw Grant, she said quietly. He came back to the hotel with another woman. My first instinct was to feel satisfaction. Karma. Justice. The universe balancing itself. Instead, I felt tired. Of course he did. Men who happily sleep with someone else's partner don't suddenly become loyal because they're in love. They just become someone's problem. Mia found out a month later when Grant stopped answering her calls. He didn't want drama. He didn't want commitment. He wanted excitement without consequence. When consequences showed up, he vanished. Mia tried to come back to me. It started with subtle messages. I miss you. Can we talk? I'm sorry. Then it became direct. She showed up at my new place one evening, uninvited, standing in the hallway with swollen eyes, holding a bag of dog treats like an offering. I made a mistake, she said immediately. I don't even recognize myself right now. I was selfish. I was stupid. I let something ruin us. I looked at her and felt a strange calm. Not hatred, not love, distance. I believe you're sorry, I said. But being sorry doesn't rewind time. She shook her head, tears falling. I'll do anything. Therapy, boundaries. No phone privacy if you want, whatever you need. I stared at her, and for a second, I saw the version of myself from a year ago, the one who would have grabbed at those words like a life raft, the one who thought forgiveness was proof of love. Then I saw the truth. She wasn't offering trust. She was offering access. She wanted the stability back. She wanted the safe future she'd set on fire. I don't want to be your safe option, I said quietly. Her face tightened. I love you. I believed she loved me the way people love comfort, the way they love a warm house in winter, the way they love a soft landing. I loved you too, I said. And that's why it hurt. But love without respect isn't enough. She stepped closer. Please, just one more chance. I shook my head. The chance was the moment you checked into a hotel and lied to my face. You spent months choosing someone else. You don't get to come back now because he disappeared. Her shoulders slumped. She looked small. And the dog? She whispered. I'll cover expenses, I said. He deserves consistency. We can set up a schedule through text. No surprises, no late-night visits. She nodded slowly, like she was trying to accept a reality she didn't want. When she left, I closed the door and leaned against it, not because I was devastated, but because I was relieved I didn't cave. In the months that followed, life got quieter in a good way. I rebuilt routines. I cooked for myself. I saw friends. I went on long walks with the dog and listened to podcasts instead of trying to decode someone's moods. Eventually, I started dating again. Not immediately, not recklessly, just carefully, with a new rule. I pay attention to the things that used to feel too small to mention. The phone guarding, the inconsistent stories, the contempt disguised as jokes. One afternoon, months later, I ran into Mia at a bookstore. She was alone, flipping through a travel guide. She looked up and froze. Owen, she said, voice soft. Mia, I replied. She tried to smile. You look good. Thanks, I said. So do you. She swallowed, then said the quietest thing. I'm still sorry. I nodded. I know. She waited like she wanted me to add something else, like she wanted hope. I didn't. I just said, take care, and walked away. Outside, the air was crisp. The city moved around me like it always had. People carried bags, laughed, complained, lived. I realized something as I walked to my car. Betrayal doesn't just break trust with another person. It breaks trust with yourself. You start questioning your judgment, your instincts, your memories. Recovering isn't about getting revenge or proving you were right. It's about rebuilding your relationship with your own perception. It's about becoming the kind of person who listens when something feels wrong. If you're reading this and you're in that stage where your gut is screaming but your heart is begging you to ignore it, I'll tell you what I wish someone had told me. You don't need a courtroom-level case to leave. You don't need a confession. You don't need perfect proof. You need honesty. And if you can't get it from them, you owe it to yourself. Because the most painful part of my story wasn't the hotel, or the lies, or even the cheating. It was the moment I realized she could look me in the eyes, say I love you, and then walk into someone else's room. Once you see that, you can't unsee it. And you shouldn't have to.